Tonight, when you lie down and your head finally hits the pillow, your heart will quietly do something you cannot feel, cannot see, and most doctors have never thought to warn you about. For the majority of adults over 60, the hours between 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. are not a time of rest for the cardiovascular system. They are the most dangerous hours of the day. More than 800,000 Americans suffer a heart attack every year. And the single largest peak window? The early morning hours, right after sleep, not during exercise, not during stress, during the night. What I am about to show you are 7 completely ordinary things that people over 60 do every single evening, things that feel harmless, even relaxing, that are quietly setting the stage for a cardiac event by morning. Stay with me. This will take less than 15 minutes. And it may be the most important 15 minutes your heart has ever had. My name is Holmes, and for over 3 decades I have worked as a cardiovascular health specialist, sitting across from patients in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, watching the same patterns repeat themselves over and over. If you are over 60, this message was written specifically for you, because the cardiovascular system after 60 behaves differently than it did at 40. And the mainstream advice almost nobody is giving you reflects that. What I am about to share could literally save your life. Not in a dramatic way, in the quiet, invisible, biological way that actually matters. Here is what nobody tells you about the aging heart. During the day, your body has buffers. Movement keeps blood flowing. Daylight regulates cortisol. Activity burns off inflammation. But at night, those buffers disappear. After 60, the cardiovascular system enters a physiological minefield after dark. Blood pressure fluctuates in dangerous patterns. Arterial walls stiffen. The nervous system shifts into a mode that, under the wrong conditions, dramatically increases clotting risk. The heart is working harder in the early morning hours than at almost any other point in the day, right after you wake up from sleep. A landmark study published in the European Heart Journal found that the risk of a cardiac event spikes by up to 40% in the 2 hours immediately following waking. The reason? What happened during the night before? Here is what happens inside your body when these 7 habits are in place. Inflammation quietly builds in arterial walls while you sleep. Blood viscosity increases, thickening the blood toward clotting risk. The heart's electrical system is disrupted, triggering irregular rhythms. Oxygen delivery to the heart muscle drops at the precise moment it needs it most. Tonight, you will learn exactly which habits are causing this and what to replace them with, starting tonight. Not next week. Tonight. Eating a large meal. Within 2 hours of bed. Most people think late-night eating is a weight problem. This one surprises almost everyone. It is primarily a heart problem. A major study in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found that eating within 2 hours of sleep increases nighttime blood pressure by an average of 8 to 10 points, a range that cardiologists classify as clinically significant. Here is what happens inside your body. When you eat a large meal and then lie flat, your digestive system demands a surge of blood flow. Your heart rate increases. Blood pressure climbs. At the same time, your body is trying to transition into parasympathetic recovery mode for sleep. These two systems are in direct conflict. Your heart is essentially being asked to sprint at the starting line of a race it should be slowly walking. Margaret, 67 years old, came to me after her second hospitalization for a heart arrhythmia. Both episodes happened in the early hours of the morning. Her only crime, a large pasta dinner at 9 p.m. 3 times a week for years. She had no idea. The fix: move your last significant meal to at least 3 hours before bedtime. If you are hungry late, choose something small and light, a handful of walnuts, a small bowl of plain yogurt. Let your heart begin its nightly work uninterrupted. What most people miss it is not just the size of the meal. High-sodium foods eaten late at night cause a second blood pressure spike at approximately 2 to 3 a.m. while you are completely asleep and have no idea it is happening. Sleeping in a room that is too warm. This one will seem almost laughably simple, and that is exactly why it is so dangerous. Nobody takes it seriously. Research published in the journal Sleep Medicine Reviews confirmed that core body temperature must drop by approximately 1 to 2 degrees Fahrenheit for the heart to enter its deepest recovery phase. A warm room prevents that drop entirely. Here is what happens inside your body when your bedroom is too warm. Your heart rate never fully decreases. Your blood vessels remain slightly dilated, preventing the restorative vascular repair that happens only in deep sleep. Cortisol, the stress hormone directly linked to arterial inflammation, stays elevated throughout the night. The heart is denied its one daily window of genuine rest. Robert, a 71-year-old retired teacher, had been experiencing fatigue, mild chest pressure, and poor sleep for 2 years. His cardiologist found early arterial thickening. Nothing else had changed in his life. His bedroom thermostat? Set to 75 degrees every night for a decade. The fix set your bedroom temperature between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit before sleep. This is the range that supports full cardiac recovery. If you share a bed and there is disagreement, use lighter blankets rather than raising the room temperature. What most people miss. A warm bath or shower 90 minutes before bed actually helps, because it triggers a rapid post-bath temperature drop that signals deep sleep onset. It is the opposite of what most people expect. What temperature do you sleep at right now? I want to hear from you in the comments. Scrolling your phone or watching intense TV right before sleep. Many people do not see this as dangerous. They see it as unwinding. But here is what nobody is telling you about what it actually does to your cardiovascular system after 60. A randomized controlled trial published in JAMA Internal Medicine found that blue light exposure within 60 minutes of sleep suppresses melatonin production by up to 50%. What most cardiologists know and rarely explain is that melatonin is not just a sleep hormone. It is a direct antioxidant protector of arterial walls. Here is what happens inside your body. When melatonin is suppressed, oxidative stress on your arteries goes unprotected through the night. Blood pressure regulation, normally governed in part by melatonin, becomes erratic. And emotionally stimulating content, news, drama, arguments on social media, activates the sympathetic nervous system right before the heart needs to deactivate it. I had a patient, 64 years old, a woman named Carol, who described falling asleep to the news every night for years. Her overnight blood pressure recordings showed a pattern her daytime readings never revealed. Sustained hypertension from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. every single night. The fix: implement a 45-minute screen-free window before bed. Replace it with reading physical pages, light stretching, or calm conversation. If you use your phone for an alarm, put it face down across the room the moment that window begins. What most people miss: audiobooks and calm podcasts are a legitimate substitute. Your eyes are the primary pathway for the disruption. Audio stimulation at low volume does not carry the same cardiovascular risk. Do you fall asleep with the TV on or your phone in your hand? You are not alone, but it may be costing your heart more than you realize. Drinking alcohol in the evening to relax. This is the habit that generates the most resistance when I raise it with patients, because it feels like relief. And for decades, people were told a glass of wine was good for the heart. That advice is being quietly walked back, and for good reason. A 2023 landmark review published in The Lancet, compiling data from over 370,000 participants, found no safe level of alcohol consumption when measured against cardiovascular outcomes in adults over 60. The earlier cardioprotective data was drawn predominantly from younger, healthier populations. Here is what happens inside your body after that evening glass. Alcohol initially lowers blood pressure, which feels relaxing. But 3 to 4 hours later, while you are asleep, it triggers a rebound effect. Blood pressure surges, heart rate becomes irregular. The heart enters a state cardiologists call reactive hypertension, a spike that happens silently at 2 or 3 in the morning while you are completely unaware. Atrial fibrillation, the most common cardiac arrhythmia, has been directly linked to nighttime alcohol consumption in multiple peer-reviewed studies. AFib dramatically increases stroke risk, and the connection to that single evening drink is one most patients are never told about. James was 68, healthy by all appearances, one glass of red wine every evening. He considered it his ritual, his reward for the day. He was found in his kitchen at 6 a.m. disoriented. The diagnosis? A transient ischemic attack, a mini-stroke that occurred during the night. His cardiologist connected it directly to his overnight blood pressure pattern. The fix replaced the evening drink with a ritual that serves the same psychological function without the cardiovascular cost. A warm chamomile or hibiscus tea, a glass of tart cherry juice, both shown to support vascular relaxation, or simply the act of sitting quietly. The ritual matters. You don't have to give up the moment. Just give your heart a different gift inside it. Be honest. How many evenings a week do you have a drink to wind down? This is not judgment. This is medicine. Sleeping on your back without knowing you have sleep apnea. Here is what nobody tells you about sleep apnea. Most people who have it after 60 do not know it, and their heart is paying for that ignorance every single night. The American Heart Association estimates that 30 to 40% of adults over 65 have undiagnosed obstructive sleep apnea. A major study in Circulation found that untreated sleep apnea increases the risk of heart failure by 140% and the risk of stroke by 60%. Here is what happens inside your body. Every time breathing pauses during sleep, and it can happen dozens of times per hour, your blood oxygen drops. Your brain triggers an emergency stress response. Cortisol and adrenaline flood the system. The heart jolts to compensate. Over years, this repeated midnight battering thickens arterial walls, weakens the heart muscle, and creates the precise conditions for sudden cardiac events. Dorothy, 72, came to me with unexplained high blood pressure that 4 different medications hadn't controlled. Her husband mentioned she snored and sometimes seemed to stop breathing in her sleep. A sleep study confirmed severe apnea. After 6 months of treatment, her blood pressure normalized without any medication change. The fix starts by sleeping on your side rather than your back. This alone reduces apnea episodes significantly. More importantly, if you snore, wake unrefreshed, or have unexplained high blood pressure, ask your doctor for a sleep study referral. Modern home sleep tests require no hospital stay. This is not optional. This is your heart's survival mechanism. What most people miss. You do not need to feel tired to have dangerous sleep apnea. Many patients with severe apnea believe they sleep just fine. The damage is happening whether you feel it or not. Have you ever been told you snore or that you stop breathing in your sleep? This could be the most important question you answer today. Not drinking water before bed, out of fear of night waking. This surprises people more than almost anything else on this list. Many adults over 60 deliberately avoid drinking water after dinner to avoid waking up at night. I understand the logic. The consequences are something most doctors have never fully explained. Research published in the European Journal of Nutrition found that even mild dehydration, a 1 to 2% reduction in body water, increases blood viscosity to levels that significantly elevate stroke and cardiac event risk during overnight hours in older adults. Here is what happens inside your body. You already lose roughly 1 liter of water through breathing and perspiration while you sleep, without drinking anything, without moving, just by being alive overnight. If you enter that window already slightly dehydrated, your blood thickens. Thick blood moves slowly. Slow blood clots more easily. The morning window, when blood pressure naturally surges as you wake, becomes dramatically more dangerous. My own father, at 74, was admitted to the hospital following a morning transient ischemic attack. The single most abnormal finding on his blood work when he arrived, critically elevated blood viscosity. He had not had anything to drink since 6 p.m. the night before. The fix: drink 1 small glass of plain water, roughly 6 to 8 ounces, approximately 30 minutes before bed. Not a large amount, just enough to protect your blood from thickening overnight. If night waking is a concern, reduce fluid intake in the 2 hours before this final glass, not before. The heart needs that hydration window far more than it needs uninterrupted sleep. What most people miss: warm water before bed is absorbed more efficiently than cold, and adding a small pinch of natural mineral salt, not table salt, helps the body retain that hydration through the night rather than flushing it immediately. Do you avoid drinking water before bed? Many people watching this right now do. Type, "I didn't know this," in the comments if this surprised you. Taking your blood pressure medication at the wrong time of day. This is the most important item on this entire list, and it is the one that most doctors, good, well-meaning doctors, have gotten wrong for decades. The hydrochronotherapy trial, one of the largest cardiovascular studies ever conducted, published in the European Heart Journal, followed over 19,000 patients for 6 years and found that patients who took their blood pressure medication at bedtime rather than in the morning reduced their risk of heart attack by 44%, stroke by 49%, and cardiovascular death by 55%. Here is what happens inside your body. Blood pressure follows a biological clock. It dips during the night in healthy adults and surges in the early morning as you wake. In many people over 60, this dip no longer happens. They experience what cardiologists call non-dipping patterns, where blood pressure remains elevated through the night, the most damaging possible configuration for arterial health. Morning-dosed medication has largely worn off by the time the overnight danger window arrives. This is not fear-mongering. That is medicine. 44% reduction in heart attack risk from a timing change alone. No new drug, no new dose, just a different hour. I changed my own mother's blood pressure medication to a bedtime schedule after this research was published. Her cardiologist had never discussed it. Her overnight pressure readings improved within 3 weeks. She is 79 and doing beautifully. The fix. Do this tonight. Do not change your medication independently, but do bring the Hygia trial to your next doctor's appointment and ask specifically, is bedtime dosing appropriate for my medication and blood pressure pattern? This is your right. This is your heart. Most physicians, when shown this research, will discuss it openly. The ones who dismiss it without explanation deserve a second opinion. What most people miss. Not all blood pressure medications are appropriate for bedtime dosing. Some cause a blood pressure drop too rapidly. This is why you consult your physician, rather than switching on your own. But the conversation itself could be the most important one you have this year. When do you take your blood pressure medication? Morning or evening? Drop your answer below. I read every comment, and your answer helps me understand what information to share next. Here is what we covered. Late meals spike overnight blood pressure. A warm bedroom prevents the heart's one daily recovery window. Screen use strips the arteries of their melatonin shield. Evening alcohol triggers silent reactive hypertension. Undiagnosed sleep apnea batters the heart dozens of times every hour. Avoiding nighttime water thickens your blood toward clotting, and taking blood pressure medication at the wrong time leaves your heart unprotected during its most dangerous hours. Each one of these habits alone carries measurable risk. Together, they create a perfect cardiovascular storm, and most people living with all 7 have no idea. This is not fate. This is not inevitable. This is preventable. Every single item on this list has a straightforward fix that costs nothing, requires no prescription, and can begin tonight. Your heart has been beating for you, without rest, without complaint, without a single day off, for over 6 decades. It has beaten through grief and joy, through illness and recovery, through every morning you did not know was a gift. It has never asked you for anything in return. Tonight, you can finally give it something back. You are not powerless here. You are not at the mercy of your age or your genetics. You are an adult who now has information that most people will never receive. And the most important thing you can do with that information is act on it. Not perfectly, not all at once, but consistently, starting tonight. The patients I have watched recover their cardiovascular health past 70 and 80 are not exceptional people. They are simply people who were given the right information and chose to use it. You are watching this for a reason. That reason is your heart. Honor it. If this reached you, if even one item on this list made you rethink something you do every night, like this video. not for the algorithm, because other adults over 60 in your life may never find this information otherwise. Subscribe to this channel. Every week, I share cardiovascular and longevity information explained in plain language for adults over 60. The people mainstream health media consistently leaves behind. In the comments right now, type, "I am starting tonight." That simple act of commitment, even to a screen, has been shown to increase follow-through significantly. Make the promise. Your heart is listening. Share this with a partner, a sibling, a friend over 60. You may never know whose life you protect by doing so. The most important health conversation you have this year might begin with a forwarded video. Aging is not about giving up. It is about learning at every stage how to fight smarter. I am Holmes, and I will see you in the next video.